We are in the people business. We just happen to sell cars. Gosh, we said that for a long time around here, but what does that really mean? Well, this is our attempt to bring out some of what that means in real-life stories of the people that make up this special company. My name's Ty Bullard, and I have the honor and the privilege of leading Joe Bullard Automotive right here in Mobile, Alabama, that is truly trying to make a difference one person at a time. Really, Ty? Easy to say, but are you seriously trying to do this or just saying this? I get it, and frankly, I think it's a fair thought. But come journey with us as we open up with these people and truly get to explore their humanness that makes them difference makers. We all have a story. I do, you do, we all do, and I'm just excited to share some of these with you. Okay, enough with the intro. Let's jump in. We're back with our one and only Andrew Speight, and we got a little more chicken on this bone. We haven't gotten everywhere I feel like we should get. There's some more in there that I want to expose, and I think you do too, maybe. We'll find out. So we left off talking about the casino business, Bahamas, and got tapped you on the shoulder. You end up in Nassau, Bahamas, and then you obviously made it into the United States, casino business. Andrew, you did give me the permission to go a little bit in this area, but I want to go here because I'm interested in it. Casino business tends to kind of put you in maybe a little bit of an environment of maybe a party environment. You know, people don't go to the casino like they go to the dentist. I mean, they're not in the same mood. So, I mean, they're in a little party environment. You know, they're kind of you're excited. They're doing things, you know, casino contributes.
Yes, I'm an old drunk. Spit it out.
So I know alcohol plays a part in this. Tell me how alcohol played a part in your life.
Well, it nearly destroyed it.
Okay. Was it associated because of casinos?
No,
okay.
No, it was associated. And therapy and learning will teach you these things, but it was associated really with. Alcoholism is officially a disease. The Supreme Court said so.
For sure.
So once you realize that, you can take some of the blame away. And recovery from
just like an eating disorder, just like a drug.
I mean, which obviously I have as well. But I have an addictive personality, they say. But, there are a lot of reasons for it. Your past, your background, things that have happened, so on and so forth. And,
for sure.
and what effect alcohol, if you choose to try and relieve some of those things with alcohol, how successful it was, and then how much you rely on it in the future. And I am an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic that hasn't had a drink for in excess of 25 years.
25 years?
Yeah, just a little over.
Wow.
It's,
when you just say that, like when that just comes out, what comes over you?
The biggest thing, and they'll tell you this in AA, but the biggest thing is that, people drink, and people drink heavily. And people ask me all the time, do you think so-and-so is an alcoholic? But that's not for me to say. They may be a drunk, and that's clear to see. But when alcohol has control over you, as opposed to you having control, if you choose to drink, and you truly just choose to drink, every Friday night and Saturday night, I'm getting drunk. Then I'm not drinking in the week. I don't need to. I don't want to. I just do it for fun. That's one thing, if you truly believe that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the other side of it is, I don't want to have a drink anymore. I never want to have a drink again, ever.
Really?
And then you do. Now, that's my personal definition of alcoholic. It had control over me. I had no control over it. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the week before last, I was out in my yard and saw my neighbor's wife bring him out a cold bottle of Bud Light where I could see the condensation dripping down the outside. And I had an axe in my hand and I didn't want to split his head in half so I could drink it instead. That's an exaggeration. But I do think to myself occasionally, I think I could have a few beers now and it not affect me.
I mean, I would think after 25 years or 20 years or 15 even or 10, that, those thoughts would creep back in saying, I think I can handle it.
And it would. Here's the little teeny problem associated with that is I die if I do. And if I believe otherwise, then I die again. And that's what the constant struggle is. And I'm not, struggle's a strong word, because I rarely think about it anymore.
Really?
Doesn't mean I never do.
Yeah.
But I really do. And the times when I do, again, they're stress associated. They're, memories of days gone by that you think you bury and you bring up again. They're little things that, you always have this little alcoholic guy sitting on your shoulder and he's whispering in your ear.
Mm.
He always wants to draw you back. We call him the devil sometimes. And it's not just alcohol. He talks to you about doing a lot of things you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to learn to brush him off now and again and get on with a better life.
What, was there a particular person that helped you recover? Like, was there a human?
Well, yeah, we always have what's called a sponsor in AA.
Yeah. But what was
somebody that you can go to, and there was an old man who's.
But was there somebody that in your life at the time that said, "Hey, you need help.
You need to go."
Like that stepped out.
No, strangely enough, I was dating a young lady that I met in a casino. And she was from, I forget the name of the town, somewhere in Mississippi.
Mm.
And she had an issue with alcohol. We find each other. And she decided one day that she was going to do something about it. And because we were fairly close and in a decently solid relationship, I decided I would go to Alcoholics Anonymous, which is for people who live with alcoholics and teach them how to deal with them and so and so. And I went to one meeting. And it was going on at the same time as the AA meeting next door. I went to one meeting and started listening to those people, and I realized I was in the wrong darn room. So I got up and opened the door and went and sat in the other room and said,
Really?
yeah, good evening, I'm an alcoholic, I need some help.
Really?
And that's really what started it.
You got up out of that room and walked into the next room.
Oh, yeah.
And you realized you were in the wrong room.
You know what an Al-Anon handshake
What
is?
do you place in your life? What do you place? Oh, yeah, I'm familiar. We have alcoholism in our family, so I'm familiar with the whole AA 12 steps.
Right.
Where do you place that action in your life? Like, as far as like, I think we all look back at marks on our life and things, and you're like, man, that step in that direction was a critical.
Well, I'm alive.
Wow.
I guess that would be the biggest. But I'm not only alive; I live.
Mm-hmm.
I control my life up to a point.
Mm-hmm.
The good Lord controls my life.
I get what you're saying.
And I don't. I'm not a slave to anything. There are. And I'd kind of like to mention this a little when I'm doing this, because it would be wrong for me not to, about the things in my life that I have that wouldn't have otherwise.
So one of them start with a D?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have prizes in my life. I have rewards from God in my life. My wife is certainly one of them. Without getting into too much detail, I've been married more than once.
Mm-hmm.
18 months used to be, I thought, was a pretty good record for a marriage. But now, my wife and I have been married 25 years, or coming up on 25 years, which
interesting
which is great. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
As precious is my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She has just informed me a couple of weeks ago that in March I will be getting my first grandchild. And that's pretty bloody special.
Mm-hmm.
And my life, my wife and I don't have much. We spend it all on dogs, basically. We have 17 dogs. We live in a kennel. But she believes with all her heart that one of the reasons the good Lord put her on this planet was to take care of these creatures that can't take care of themselves. And she does it with a burning passion. Speaking of burning, she's told me on numerous occasions that if the house catches fire, once the 17 dogs are out, she's coming back for me. So who am I to turn around and look her in the eye and say, but look at where we live and some of the things we have to put up with. Nobody can come to the house. We can't it doesn't really matter that God told you this is what you're supposed to be doing. I say different. Well, no, that's not coming from me. Mm-hmm. I support her wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And you know, my fishing, I make bowls out of wood. You know, that's an important one for stressing out. If I have a stressful day and I go home, you know, you put a piece of wood that weighs 15 pounds on the lathe and spin it at 1,200 revolutions a minute, you better forget everything else.
Yeah, because that's all you can focus on.
That'll kill you.
Get hurt.
It'll kill you.
It'll kill you.
So
that's interesting.
So,
that extreme focus on something eliminates everything else.
It
cuts
it
out
does,
the background.
especially when it's necessary. So, you know, the older I get, I guess those things become even more important. I used to think that coming here, and I don't say this with any disrespect, but I used to think that, you know, I used to put this place in front of a lot of things. And my explanation was the same as the one I used in AA. If you don't put those things second, this one thing will destroy all of those anyway. And that's a lot truer about AA than working here. But working here has given me the opportunity to repair, improve, continue with, maintain the lifestyle that I have, such as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very content. And, you know, I have a great wife, I have a beautiful daughter, great son-in-law, grandchild's on the way, truck's paid for, you know, I can go fishing, I can make a bowl, I can cut the grass, and, you know, life is okay. I don't need, I always used to think I needed so much more, but I don't.
And at some point you figure that out.
And, you know, I'm pretty content. I'm happy.
Yeah, that content word's a big word. Like that's, like
You're
even
too
hearing
young
that
to
word
be
from my,
content.
hearing that word kind of gives me anxiety. Like
Well, yeah, because you still have so much to achieve. You know, and I don't say this in a poor me, I'm old and dying kind of a way, but, you know, my achievements such as they are in terms of approval from the world, so to speak, who measure you way more than you measure yourself and way more than they should have the right to. You still have those to show. You still have things to prove to yourself, to others, to your family, to whatever. Your journey through life in that regard is, you know, it's halfway through. It's not, it might be less than halfway through. Whereas mine is, you know, sad as it is, winding down. So as probably this interview should, I've talked way too much.
No, I mean, I think there's just a ton of wisdom and ton of, you know, pieces in there that are really powerful. And I just appreciate you letting us go there. Like, I mean, I know we've had these conversations. This isn't the first time I've heard necessarily about the struggles in your life that made you who you are today, but it certainly is appreciative of the vulnerability, because what I've learned and what I can see right now is when people become vulnerable, you move towards them, not necessarily away from them. And that's, I appreciate you letting us move towards you, closer to you, because we really get to know who you are today.
Well, I am who I am, you know, warts and all.
Hey.
And there's a lot of warts.
Yeah.
But, you know, you find a time when you say, I have to stop trying to change to be this.
Yeah.
I am who I am. And as long as most of the rough edges are removed and that you're not hurting anybody else by not changing, you know, find a place to settle.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And say I'm contented.
Good stuff. Thank you, Andrew, for being here and sharing with us. Enjoyed it. All
My
right.
pleasure.
Till next time. Thank you, guys.